Nate, I believe.
What if I have to go to the bathroom?
Right? What?
Too late.
No.
Now.
Hold it.
That'll speed up the episode, right?
You're not allowed to go to the bathroom until we're done.
Thought you said you had a bottle nearby.
That cup is gonna get
It's gonna get used. That's all I'm saying.
It's gonna get used. You might not want to use that cup afterwards either.
So for newer listeners, in the last episode, y'all said that the Zelda 2 episode kind of solidified the format. This is why, because I have to interrupt right away.
No, but it really was one of those things. I look back, and that was kind of a pivotal moment where it's like the formula just kind of clicked. I was like, oh no, this is what we can kind of be. And
and I agree with that. Like, I thought that was in my memory that was your first really, really great episode where everything was firing.
Well, that's just because you were on it.
Partially,
that's why you think
yes.
that.
I think most of the episodes I'm on are really great, except that one. You know which one. I don't know. I just
but you do.
I like the way that you sort of like sow that seed of doubt, like that one. It's like, which one is he talking about?
And we all just nod our heads. We say
Go
yes.
ahead.
Yeah, that one.
That
Oh my
one.
goodness.
It is my
Forgot
big
about that.
crap. Just hit the stupid thing. We'll jump into this.
That is so long.
Yes, at one time speed. But welcome back to another episode of the Backlog Breakdown, a video game podcast where we seek to encourage and equip the church to engage the genre, the medium of video games wisely and responsibly. I'm one of your hosts, Nate, joined by my friend and brother in Christ, Joshua. How you doing tonight, Josh?
Hey, doing good, man.
And well, we also have two very special guests. But before I introduce them, I want to say, Pone Saw is ready.
Gosh.
Nice.
I
like
got
this
you
planning that
for
for weeks.
2 hours.
That's a short one then, huh? Okay.
That's just the intro. It's kind of it's almost a full cast of the Pone crew. We have Paul, aka the Techno Funk Boy.
Hi.
Wow. That's like that butler ghost that we just saw on the Mike Tyson adventure thing.
It was a little Ned Flanders, sure.
little Flanderish there. And then of course we've got Wesley Ray, the Henshin Dad himself.
What's up? I can't follow that, honestly. He set the tone. He
Paul made
got
that
the
very
football ready.
awkward.
Yes.
But so tonight, folks, just to sort of give you a bit of a heads up, we're going to be jumping into A Link to the Past, the legend, like probably the seminal Legend of Zelda game in a lot of circles. I know that in some ways the talk is like, between that and Ocarina of Time. But so we're going to be talking about that, but we have other things to we have a lot of ground to cover tonight. And I don't want to be up till 4 a.m. because I got to drive tomorrow. So, let's kind of move this thing along. But Josh,
3 a.m, guys. 3 a.m.
That's a cutoff.
That's a cutoff. Hard out. But Josh, I have Well, I just want to know how it's been since I last spoke with you, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Weather's changing. It's getting cold here. Freezing temperatures. Actually, on Sunday it got up to almost 60, and so we like spent most of the day outside. But that's probably the last day of the year that it'll actually be those temperatures. So yeah, it's pretty chilly here. Had a nice little weekend. Our town did a little Christmas event with a parade and a bunch of little vendors and all kinds of bouncy house and all that stuff down in our downtown square over the weekend. And as a church, we had a little 20-minute segment where we were caroling. We did some Christmas carols, and I got to lead that. So that was fun. That was a good time. And so it's been a pretty good weekend. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I might not be my regularly animated self. I don't know. I might just be super down on this game, guys. Link to the Past. Although I can say A Link to the Past is definitely the best Zelda game that is not on our top 100 list. That's what I can say. But we'll talk about that more later when we get to it.
Spoilers,
yeah,
because that's usually I was going to ask that question. But yeah, we will get around to that at some point. But Paul, it has been quite some time. I think the last time that I remember is when we tried to talk about Baldur's Gate 2, and all of us just felt bad.
And then y'all banned me from the show for 1 year. It was like
we said we put you out into exile.
No podcast for you. 1 year, you come back.
Well, actually, we meant to do something. I think we meant to do this last year. And it just kind of was like it kind of got away from us, but we are getting it done now. So, but since then, how have you been, man? Like, how are things going?
I had 2 years and I still didn't beat it. And no, things have been great. Things have been great over here. And so, I think since last time I was here, I got a house, got some chickens. Very exciting.
Do they
attack your kids?
No.
Okay. They don't like slash swords at them and they start pecking at them and flying around. I'm making a Legend of Zelda joke, okay? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeesh.
Gotcha. I get it now.
That took you that long? Wow. You are
Everyone's
the oldest one
staring
here.
at me like I'm insane.
Paul's just like, I'm confused.
It's
what
been 30
are you talking about?
It's been 32 years since I even looked at this game, okay?
He's like, chickens have swords? What are you talking about? Slashing at my children?
The swords threw me off. Where do they get swords in the game?
I think he was talking about your children having swords and slashing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yes, that does happen.
That was the
Yes,
idea.
of course.
But
Good.
Anyways.
Good. Keep those chickens in line. Yeah. But Wesley, that you are the fourth man here. How have you been since we last had you on? Ostensibly.
You don't know.
I
that.
mean, we just
hear
saw
something about
you,
me, bro.
You're second on my list, Wes.
Listen, this is why we don't have nice things. But it has not been as I was just going to say it has not been as long. Like we
significantly shorter, yeah.
Significantly shorter. Although the game that you recommended was significantly longer than the one we're going to be talking about tonight. But since you last been on, yeah. Since you were last on, how have you been, man? What's going on?
Started school. I hate my life. Working. I don't like working. This year has been particularly rough with children.
Oh, man.
Not my own children. My own children. I come home and I'm like, oh, you are absolutely wonderful children. Basically like angelic creatures compared to what I deal with on a daily basis. I'm just like, oh my gosh, things are getting worse. But you know what? It's okay. I'm not going to complain about my job. I have a job. I'm good. This is the cope talking, obviously, but it's good. It's good. Everything's fine. It's fine. House is burning down. It's fine.
We clearly need to put Legend of Zelda aside and just talk to Wes for a
This is my therapy session. You guys charge way less than an actual counselor, so
Wait, we charge for this?
Men would literally rather talk about The Legend of Zelda for several hours than go to therapy.
It's like
no lie detected.
no lies detected. I was just thinking like, yeah, it's I was thinking you were gonna go a little differently there and say men would literally talk about The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for several hours rather than discuss their feelings. Which
my feelings
also,
are very intricately entwined with Link to the Past. Okay.
Okay. But as far as things in my neck of the woods, I am on the new route. I have been adjusting to it for a little bit now, and it is delightful. It is nice that when I have a heavy day, I'm still like at this point in time, like today, I was one of the first people back. And it was like, and everybody like, no, I wasn't like the first person back, but I was like among like the first like 10 carriers back. And I was like that, and I was still coming back at like 5:30. And I was like, that beats the pants off of like, back when I was like the last dude rolling in.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do have this one like weird phenomena where I have a street. It is like literally the last street on my route, and it has basically like one whole loop, maybe 15 houses on this street total. And those 15, we'll say 20, just to play it safe. Those 20 houses get more parcels than the rest of the route. Like,
wow.
At the end of the day, it's like I pulled up to this street, and I still had like I started out with 120 or whatever. I still had like 35 parcels for this street. I'm going, what? What? This is insane. It's like it's not even like if I didn't have those parcels, it would take me 20 minutes of work. Like with those parcels, 45. I'm like, but hey, I'm not. It won't be like this forever. It's like we're entering into peak, but it's like, and it's not even that bad. I'm like, it's just it's weird to me. I'm like, this is weird, guys. You guys know this is weird, right? That like you get more stuff than pretty much anywhere else in the rest of the route, but like, and it's just one tiny little street. Anyways, but yeah, things are good on my end. So
nice.
Yeah, we're doing all right. But Josh, I think we need to have a little bit of talk about the media that we've been into lately.
Oh yeah, we do need to report on some
report.
media. Yeah.
We're here to tell you what's going down. Two podcast hosts with attitude and style, reporting on the media that make you smile. We watched the movie, we binged the show, we read the book, and we want to let you know.
All right. So
see, last time I was here, it was.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, we hadn't been corrupted by Suno at that point in time. Like, which one of our guests is directly responsible for that movement in the backlog breakdown.
Yeah, version 4 is out now. You can remaster that song and higher quality vocals.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
With a touch of a button.
With a touch of a button.
Mm-hmm.
How about we just remove the vocals? I would appreciate that.
I didn't see that as an option. I was tempted, but I couldn't figure it out.
But so we'll just keep that order. Josh, since we last recorded, what have you been into? Like what? And just for the sake of brevity,
because we're real good at that.
One Piece,
at least one.
One Piece. Okay, that's like 1,000 episodes to talk about
One Piece.
We're not talking about One Piece the anime, but what is one piece of media that you have been into that you kind of want to share with the fine listeners of our podcast?
All right. Well, I mentioned it on the Discord with you guys because I wanted to vent is not the proper word, but gush a little bit, is that I recently rewatched an old Marvel movie with my son, trying to get him into some of the Marvel stuff. And it was Captain America, the First Avenger. Now, I remember when I first watched this movie, I thought it was just okay. Like, it's just kind of bog standard.
And you were wrong. And you were wrong.
I was very wrong, because my goodness, rewatching it, that is a really good movie. And sure, it's got some cheesy parts here and there, but overall, I mean, one, it's just got such a good moral, because it's Captain America, right? Is like, hey, you're the little guy, you're willing to protect other people, you're willing to, press forward, even though, persevere through difficulty is basically the whole, theme of the movie. And so that's great. But then it has all kinds of other, some good action in there, some fun, set pieces and things like that. Even some romance, some like legitimate romance without like over sexualizing things. Like, it was just a really good movie, and I really enjoyed it. So really, that's all I've got to say. It was way better than I remembered it being, and I had fun watching it with my son.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. It's always nice going back to this stuff and having it be better than you remember it.
Because it doesn't always work out that way. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, most of the time it goes the opposite way. But Paul, what is the one piece of non-video game media that you have to unleash on our unsuspecting ears?
All right. Well, okay. So it is getting near to Christmas, and
Mhm.
so I don't know if y'all know this, but Ronnie Martin, formerly of Joy Electric, has been for the last few years releasing original Christmas music every year, at least something out, and it's great. He has one album of that's more artsy, experimental, analog synth theme and variation type thing, but most of them are his traditional, just great pop songs, and
Okay.
all that stuff's on Bandcamp, and so I've been listening to pretty much just Ronnie Martin for the last several days, and just really enjoying it.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, and Ronnie is like he's a definite like Christmas stan. I remember
Yeah.
he would always talk about like how much he loved like the Hallmark Christmas movie kind of like trope and genre. And yeah, he's a bit like I'll need to check that out cuz I do enjoy some Ronnie Martin just
He
as a general principle.
Yeah, they back in the Joy Electric days, I think he did at least one Christmas album. But it was mostly covers, and his newer stuff is better.
Mhm.
I think I think he's matured a lot as a songwriter and performer, and it's all original, which is just it's fun because he has really plugged into a good Christmas sound and is doing great stuff with it. So definitely stuff I recommend.
Okay. Cool.
Holy moly. According to Bandcamp, it says that Joy Electric released 14 albums.
Oh yeah, there was
Oh
a
my
lot.
gosh. Wow.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot.
crazy. I did not realize that. That's crazy.
I have a lot of Joy Electric because I love me some Ronnie Martin, but I don't think I have. I definitely don't have even half of their releases.
You don't have 14
Wow.
albums?
No, I think I have 5 or 6 of them theirs, but
Mm. Yeah, I might, actually make that part of the soundtrack to our road trip here in the next couple of days,
Hmm.
and just unload some Joy Electric Christmas music, well, Ronnie Martin Christmas music on my unsuspecting family.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so
Well, and the new stuff is under Ronnie Martin, not Joy Electric.
okay,
But
yeah,
if y'all are looking for it, if anybody out there, um, tell him I sent you. I tweeted that I'm listening to him nonstop, and he liked it. He didn't respond, but he did like it. So
Twitter fame.
yeah,
X
no,
fame.
no.
X Fame.
Hey, yeah. Oh boy, social media. It's a delight. But Wesley, one piece of non-video game related media.
Well, the first is absolutely no. Just kidding.
And there it is. There it is.
You know something really funny? Actually, like I've been sitting here this entire time. You guys have been talking. I'm like, have I actually done anything like non-video game related, like media-wise, like at all in like the last month? And I can't really think about it very much at all.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, actually.
I was
like I
gonna
don't really
say
watch anything.
you did get
or-
that sick collector's edition.
I did, but I always talk about Godzilla. Oh, okay. I got something. Yeah. Okay. So it's rather appropriate considering the live action trailer came out and it looks like absolute garbo. But the How to Train Your Dragon TV series, I'm finally getting to watch that with my children, and it is absolute delight. Just fantastic. If you don't know anything about it, it was primarily a Netflix exclusive for years. There's 8 seasons, well over 100 episodes. Takes place between the first movie and the second movie, actually. And we just got to the area, or the 3rd season, so time skips and they're like teenagers now. And just the voice cast and the characters make that show just absolutely magical. Especially, what's his name? TJ Miller playing one of the twins. Like, that guy is hilarious. And everything he does, he's the only person that can make Ready Player One an actual watchable movie. Like, 100%.
That character was...
Yeah. And he plays the same
I wanna
character
say
in
the
everything he
best.
does.
Right. I wanted to say the best character was the only good character.
The
Well,
only good character.
it's not. I don't think it's a character. I think he's just kind of doing.
That's just
like,
him. Yeah.
That's just him. He's just
Yeah.
playing himself. Like
Mhm.
he's
Oh,
like a version of Will Wheaton that doesn't suck.
I don't
Yes.
actually believe that he read the script for Ready Player
No,
One
no.
at all, because everything he said made so much more sense than the
Mhm.
movie did.
Yes. Well, it's the same thing in the show because like it feels like everything he says is completely ad-libbed and they just animated around it, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm going to do this now, guys." And they're like, "Are you kidding me? We got to do that now? Are you serious? Okay. Let's do it." It's an absolute delight. That show is clever beyond my wildest expectations, honestly. It's a great show for kids too. Absolutely appropriate. The Viking jokes are hilarious. It's really not politically correct. I was very shocked going back to those initial seasons. Very much
Nice.
not at all. So, if you enjoy that. If you have kids, there you go. It's a good show.
I have to check that out.
So what
That's-
you're saying is that it's actually fun.
It's fun. It's funny. It's got like good Viking lore that they built around their whole community. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Short
I also was
episodes
worried
too.
about because that first movie's a masterpiece, and
Oh,
and when they started expanding it, I was just like, oh, please don't, just
Oh.
don't, just leave it alone. And
I love the
But
TV show
that-
more than I love any of the 3 movies. Like the TV show
Wow.
itself is
oh, that's cool. Okay.
fantastic.
but to be fair, I think all the How to Train Your Dragon is obviously the best, right?
Mhm.
But I didn't hate 2 or 3.
No.
Oh no, they
No,
were great.
I didn't either.
I like
No.
They're not as good, but they're still as far as like sequels go and trilogies, like it's not like one of like the great trilogies of all time, but it's like actually they're all pretty fun movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Great.
Well, the
Yeah.
TV show is more of the same and even better in my opinion. So
yeah.
take that as you will.
The
The second
only-
thing is
that's enough. Enough. Oh, stop you. The only thing what I'm going to bring to the table is I've had like a hankering for like kung fu. Like I used to watch tons of kung fu movies, tons and tons and tons. And unfortunately, like some of the best kung fu is like stuff that I don't want to expose Byron to yet. Like I want him to be a little older. Like Fist of Legend is arguably the greatest kung fu movie of all time. Jet Li savages a dude with a belt. It's awesome. But I don't want to encourage my son to like smack people yet. Like there will come a time, like he does enough of that on his own that I don't need
For
to
sure,
like So I was thinking about some other stuff, and I was talking to Parker, and we got on to Stephen Chow, which was like Kung Fu Hustle, Shaolin Soccer, and so I picked up Shaolin Soccer on Prime, just like the video. And Shaolin Soccer is such a delight. It's so
great.
stupid. And I like Kung Fu Hustle too, but like there's something about Chow's earlier work. Like I think it's called The Master of Cooking or whatever. Like the one that he did before Shaolin is also supposed to be really good. But Shaolin Soccer is just like, it's so much fun. It's just so goofy and dumb, and just it makes me miss Hong Kong cinema. Like
Yep.
it's like, man, like it makes me hate communist China even more than I normally do, because I'm like, you took this from me. This is beautiful and good, and you took this from me because you're disgusting pig people. Not, and I'm not saying all Chinese people are disgusting pig people. I'm saying their Winnie the Pooh leader is a disgusting pig person.
Gotta get
And
the
their entire
podcast
political
banned.
regime sucks. Well, we're not getting into China anyways.
We played Shaolin Soccer for the kids, and they just could not stop laughing. It's so well done.
It's just so goofy. Like
Yeah.
that part where, like, right in the beginning, I couldn't help but smile. That part in the beginning when he goes up to the dumpling and he starts singing to that girl, and then
That was the scene I was going to bring up. That's so good.
and then there's like the dance routine, like it's. And then he's like, he just keeps eating the buns. And then he gives her the shoes. And it's like, ugh. Oh man. So good. So good. But yeah, go watch some Shaolin Soccer, or Kung Fu Hustle. Kung Fu Hustle, frankly, isn't as good, but it's definitely more polished. But
I had a birthday party where all we did for the party was I got all my Kung Fu DVDs, and we would skip to the best fight in each one and just watch the fight, the best fight. And I did grab Kung Fu Hustle for the music fight. Because I think that whole scene is just spectacular. I love it.
That's it. Kung Fu Hustle has, like, I would say, better fight sequences.
Yeah,
like just better fights, because Shaolin Soccer doesn't really have fights. Except, well, there's the one where he uses the soccer ball to basically beat those dudes. Like he like
yeah,
like, but that's not really a fight scene. Yeah, but yeah, Shaolin Soccer's a delight. Go watch it. That being said, we are a video game podcast, and so Josh, it's what have you been playing lately, my friend?
Well, speaking of beating people up in fight scenes and stuff like that, actually, pretty much the only game that I've been playing outside of Sakuna, still continuing in that. That's been fun. I started playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Funny enough, and I've never finished the game. I guess that kind of goes without saying. It's kind of a difficult game. But really kind of getting into it. I only have a few more fights, but I know that's like, obviously the hardest parts of the game. But it's funny, like as I've been playing it, you spend some time in it and you get better, and it's so funny. It kind of reminds me of something like Dark Souls, and I get that's totally anachronistic because like Dark Souls is like,
you sound like a game journalist
NES
now.
hard, right? Exactly.
Punch Out is a Souls like.
Exactly.
Tarzan roll.
When Dark Souls came out, it's like, this is NES hard, and there just wasn't games like that. So I totally get that's what it's from. But it's interesting to think about how, because it is just a boss rush, is basically the whole game.
Yeah.
Is just fighting bosses and memorizing patterns like you do in, Souls-like games or games like that. But it's also a little bit of a fighting game before fighting games were popular, where they even kind of came into their own. So it's this fun mixture of a bunch of different things. It's frustrating too. But once I started thinking of it in those terms of like, in similar terms to, again, like a Dark Souls, where like I just have to accept I am going to lose, and I'm going to lose for a while I memorize these patterns, and I'm going to get better. Not that my character, not that I'm going to get any progression or anything like that in the game. I have to get better at recognizing patterns and dodging and all this stuff. So so it's been fun. I don't know if I'll actually make it, all the way through the game because yeah, Mike Tyson's a beast. But at the same time, I've also been watching videos on YouTube, and apparently people can beat this game blindfolded, which is absolutely insane. But that's also that has to do with kind of understanding the way the game works, and kind of it's sort of like speed running, to where you're no longer really like playing the game, you're playing the components of the game. I don't know if that makes any sense, but anyways, so I'm having a good time with Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and that's really all that I've been playing lately.
Okay.
Hey, look on the bright side. If you do KO Tyson, you've done something that Jake Paul couldn't do.
No, that's
So-
right.
Facts.
That's right.
Facts. But probably what will actually happen is that Mike Tyson will KO you,
Yeah, a few times.
yeah, a few
I'm
times.
sure.
which is also, something Jake Paul couldn't say actually happened to him. Which is sad.
That's true.
But Paul, what have you been playing lately, my guy?
Oh well, I started off my my yearly playthrough of Final Fantasy IV, and
Okay.
and so I just did my my one level grind of the game, which is on Mount Ordeals, and so gonna be able to fly through the rest of it because I've got Cecil up to level 50. Which means all the returning party members will come in the 50s, and we'll just have
Super
Edge.
old. Wow.
Yeah, we'll just have Edge there at level 28, and everybody else will be 60. So,
Nice.
but the other thing I've been playing, aside, still trudging through Final Fantasy 14, but Brotato just had DLC come out. That's really good.
Again?
Brotato hasn't had DLC yet.
I feel like you talk about this every month. It's like, oh, I got these potatoes. Oh, I got these potatoes.
That was him going through the different sort of
yeah. So
I'm
yeah,
with Wes. It
levels
feels
or
like
whatever, like
it
that.
feels
Right.
like every
It's
other
like
week
comes up
there's
every
more
day.
potatoes.
yeah. My goal was, it still is in the base game to get all the potatoes through danger level 5, which they started at danger level 0 and then worked their way up. And I was getting closer. I had all my potatoes at danger level 4, but now we got a crop of new potatoes in. There's, I think, a total of 62 of them now.
62 new potatoes?
No, just total potatoes.
That's still a lot of potatoes.
That's a lot of potatoes, yeah. And so I'm working back to get now all the achievements again to return my 100% game to 100%, and then get back on that danger level 5 grind, and it's fun. Like I've sunk, what was it, like 250 hours in this according to Steam on a $5 game. So pretty good.
That
Pretty good.
is kind of insane
I still
to me.
have no idea what this game is about. I've not seen
It's
a
not
single
about
video.
anything. It's
No, I mean like how the gameplay works. I have no idea what kind of game it is. Period.
man.
Is it a shooter? Is it like the Vampire Survivors that you got me on?
Yeah,
for a bit?
yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
close to Vampire Survivor. I think it's better than.
Okay.
I think it's the best of the genre myself, which is why I play it so much.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very
Those are
much
some sweet
inspired by
potatoes.
Vampire. I actually suggested that we do Brotato for this episode, but we had the better idea of doing this game, which I do think is better.
Or was it?
I would
Or
not
was
be
it?
opposed to doing a Brotato episode at some point in time, because that game looks absolutely fascinating to me.
It's just a blast. It's no plot, no dialogue. It's just wave after
Potatoes.
wave of enemies.
And you said it's
Killing-
only $5?
Yeah, the base game is I think is $5. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Okay,
looked at it.
so
It's
that's
$5
pretty small
on Steam.
potatoes.
Yeah. Joshua, how dare you?
Oh goodness.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
I hope my disappointment was audibly detectable. So,
Yeah, but you're going to continue to chip away at the game as the DLC comes through.
sir,
Oh my goodness.
come on, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, I've
I
pretty much fried
shouldn't
this
expect
joke.
more,
Yeah,
but I
stop
do
it.
hope for more. Every time we do this, I hope for more. And
Gotta
you
get to
never
the root
fail
of
to
the problem
disappoint.
here.
But yeah, I need to just like abandon all expectation of good behavior. But have you been playing anything else, Paul?
No,
No.
not the game I was supposed to play for tonight.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you've probably beaten it a half dozen times.
Yes, I have.
So,
Mhm.
but Wesley Ray, what have you been playing lately, my guy?
I like how we get my last name mentioned as if I'm like important or something. It's really great, Makes me feel
It feels
Really,
like your last name does feel like it's just like part of how
Just
in my
rolls off the
head, it's
tongue.
Wesley Ray.
yeah.
I do
exactly.
love that you changed your name to Average Instant Dad.
I've been changing it every single time I get on Zencaster to something different, some different permutation. I'm glad somebody noticed. Okay, so as far as games I've been playing, well, I just finished Dragon Quest III the other night, and this is the updated version on the Switch.
The 2D
And
HD.
Nice.
2D HD or HD 2D, however you want to say it. I don't really know. I got to say, a lot of the controversy around this game was seriously overblown because
Wait, there was controversy around it?
yeah, concerning the male and female was changed to like type A, type B, everything.
Oh,
And they're like, well, the art's being changed and everything, and I'm like, okay, but what you see in the actual game, it's just like, okay, you choose your character, male or female, and then everything is sprites. So it's like, can you see the outfits? Not really. It's just like the illustrations surrounding like the official art for the game. The game itself, absolutely fantastic, just as good as when I played it on the phone years ago. I mean, what can you really say?
hopefully
This
it
is
would
like
be better.
the game. Well, I mean, just as good and better. Honestly, they even added a game journalist mode where you can't die. So if I ever had a problem, I could just switch to that real quick and then just move on. And then that way I didn't have to actually do too much grinding, which was kind of helpful. Not gonna lie, I abuse that. I don't care. You can judge me if you want. No worries there. Music is absolutely fantastic. Like, just you can't gush enough about how good the Dragon Quest III music is, and it's clear like this is one of their best games that they have in the entire series. So it was just fun being able to play that, sharing that with my children. I got to name all my different party characters after them, and they thought that was hilarious because my daughter would be asking me each day, "What level am I at now?" Yeah, and then she's like, "What level's Fletcher at?" Ah, I'm a higher level now. Ha ha ha! And like just being able to change the jobs and everything, they thought that was hilarious. So super fun, super endearing.
You had to tell one of them that actually you're in the coffin that we're dragging behind the party.
Yes.
That's you. You're the dead one.
They did think that was pretty hilarious. Yeah. So just finished that. It was great. Highly recommend it. Although I hear the post game is just kind of like non-existent, other than like just doing some extra strong battles. I don't really care. So I don't really care. It was good for what it was. And then also started up Metaphor Refantasio, or however you pronounce it. About an hour in that game. It's great. Music sounds great. There's no dating mechanics, Paul, so it's a Persona game without dating. And it takes place in a fantasy world, and it's kind of cool, actually. It's a cool little story, actually. So there's that.
Is it
And then,
200 hours?
Probably.
Oh, now I'm out.
No, I don't think so. The calendar doesn't even go like the full year, like a Persona game. I think it's only like a third of the year. But I feel like more like 50.
They'll give
maybe?
they'll give us Metaphor Refantasio remaster, or
Oh, of course, yeah.
uh,
Yes. Refantasized.
yeah.
How
But
Long to
then-
Beat has the main story at 65 and a half hours.
Oh, that's not
So I'll be done
bad.
in 25. Okay.
Right.
Easy to know. I basically cut it in half and take away a few hours.
Completionist. I mean, even completionist at 100 hours, like for an Atlas game, that's fairly reasonable. Like that's actually probably the point where I was like, where I felt like completionist for Persona 3 Reload should have been, is probably closer to 100 hours instead of the 140 that I put into it.
Yeah,
So-
and
Yeah,
you're
I
just
didn't do
wrapping
that.
up your first playthrough of Persona 5 around that time.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, that's just your base playthrough for Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm willing to drop 200 hours into a game about running potatoes, but 100 hours into a game with a plot? No, thank you.
Yeah. And then the final game that I've been playing, speaking of Persona, is the DLC for Persona 3 Reload. Started that last night. I sent some very pointed messages to Josh last night and this morning. And I'm going to tell you, Nate, save your money. Did you already buy the DLC?
No.
Okay, save your money. Watch it on YouTube. It's absolute garbage. I know I'm going to do a bite size on it. It's not going to be a positive bite size unless it like actually gets good at some point. It's horrible. It's so bad. It's awful. Just awful.
Like,
I agree with
like-
Paul in the sentiment. This part of Persona is awful.
like what is awful about it that just
It's just redoing, like, you know that part in Bravely Default where you have to redo things over and over and over again. You're like, I'm doing this again. I'm doing this again. Worse than that.
it's that. Okay.
Worse. With nothing
Yikes.
compelling, like story wise, to like bring you in. At least with Bravely Default, there was like something going on that was like kind of sinister in the background. But with this, it's kind of the same thing, but worse. Like there's nothing compelling. I don't care what's going on at all with these characters right now. Like it seems pointless to me. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm actually kind of upset that I spent money on it. Like legitimately. And I don't get many regrets when it comes to games and spending money because I feel like I always get my fill because I know what I like and I'm not going to buy something I don't like. But this game this DLC just felt like a complete waste. So that's my spiel on that. We'll see how I feel when I finally finish it, which I should be done by tomorrow, honestly. So
Okay. Okay.
we'll see.
That's interesting. Well, if things sort of, well, we'll look forward to the bite sized.
Okay.
How about that?
Mhm.
As far as games that I've been into, I've been, I've been dabbling in A Link to the Past. I did not finish a playthrough for in time for the show, but I've beaten the game, I think, at least once, maybe twice. But that was years ago. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Like, to be frank, I'm really foggy on all of it. It's just like, because it's been 25, 30 years almost, since I emulated it. But again, I will talk a little bit more about that when we talk about baggage. So I just I've been playing some A Link to the Past, and it's the more I got into it, the more I was like, oh no, like this is really charming. And I kind of like kicking myself for not maybe spending a little bit more time with it before we recorded. So I think I am just gonna play through it because it's not long. It's like maybe 20 hours. So I'm gonna be and I've been enjoying it because it is a very charming game. But I've also been playing some Remnant 2 with the Lukes. That game is still a lot of fun. Yeah, it's good. It's very, very good. It's a good co-op experience. I like the loop. I think the shooting is pretty good. The weapons are pretty interesting. The one thing I would say is that I feel like the armor sets in Remnant don't really have a lot of impact. They're there for like some minor resistance boosts, but as a general rule, they don't do anything. except for like, well, I mean, there's some damage resistance, but it's like, I don't know. The armor system in original Remnant felt a lot better, but the game overall is pretty good. So I've got some interesting pieces. I'm doing some multi-classing now. So yeah, I like that game. I think it's a good time. I've also been playing 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, and
Okay.
that game, I'm kind of like low-key obsessed with that game right now.
It's great. It's such a good
Yeah, you have to get through the prologue. You have
game.
to.
Mhm.
Like, you have to get through the prologue for like, and actually get into the game proper, and then it becomes like delightful. And I love the way that they sort of like section off the 3 parts of the game, right? So like once, and this is a mild spoiler for 13 Sentinels if you haven't played it and you're thinking about it, but like once you get through all the prologues, right? Which and the prologues are kind of like tedious. It's not terrible. It's interesting. It's kind of like,
They do overstay their welcome, though.
but they do overstay their welcome. But what ends up happening is that the game basically sort of breaks down into like there's 3 tiers or 3 pillars. There's basically like sort of like lore where you it just sort of everything that you've learned in the game is sort of accessible through this, and there's a couple different like columns that you can sort of switch in it, and there's actually like a basically a currency that you earn to unlock more information about different things. And then there's this, it's called, and that one I think is just called analysis. And then there's destruction, which is basically just like combat sequences. And the one thing I would gig this game for is just like, it would be so much cooler if like the representations of the enemies and the mechs were visible on the map instead of that weird kind of like, it's not bad, but like it's almost like these Space Invader type glyphs kind of thing on the map, and it's fine, it works, but it be a more compelling game, it'd be a more interesting game, like, because like who wouldn't want to watch like mechs and kaiju duke it out? Like, I'm just saying, like, that'd be pretty awesome. I think they probably saved themselves a lot of money in not doing that, but it would have been way cooler if they had just done that thing. And then there's like, you do the story part of it where it's remembrance, I think is what they call that. And it's like these sort of like visual novel sequences. And I think what's also really kind of cool about the game is like, you can play this game 15, 20 minutes at a time and make meaningful progress. Like you can do like you can do a combat sequence in 15 minutes. You can play through one of the storyline sequences in like 15 minutes. Like, and that to me, that's kind of like masterful. That little like bite size, like you can just sort of like dip in, play a little bit, move on. And so I really, I think it's pretty rad what I've played so far. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm kind of stoked to get through it. It's
Sweet.
like it's really pretty good. It's definitely not for everybody, but it's kind of scratching me right now. Yeah, but what I did do though is Metaphor had gone on. You mentioned Metaphor, Wes. It had gone on sale for like $50 for the base version, which isn't great. That's not a great discount, but it is a little bit of a discount. And I had like $25 in PlayStation credit, and so I picked it up because it was like
Nice.
$30 is about what I was
Killer
willing to
price,
pay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's about. I mean,
Not
I
as good
would
as a
pay.
game that has $5 for potatoes, and all that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Nah, dude, there's 62 potatoes for $5. I
This ain't
mean,
no small fry.
you can't get that kind of deal at the grocery store, my guy. So cool your jets, pal. But so I picked that up. So where I had been at 0 for the beatdown, I'm now at +1, and I'm okay with that. I'm also like really mad because apparently Star Ocean Second Story R was $20 on Amazon within like the last week or two. And I'm like, that's a price point that I would have snapped that up at. Like, so I'm kind of sad that I missed that one, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. So I'll be all right. That being said, you guys probably, you, the listening audience, you're like, Nate brought in weird numbers. And the only way you're going to say that is if this is the first time you've ever listened to an episode of the Backlog Breakdown, to which I'm like, oh boy, like you should probably go back. Not all the way back, but there's
just
other
to
ones.
episode 5 for sure.
Yep.
Episode 5, at least to episode 5. But
That's the
we're talking
prologue
about
to this episode.
It really
It's
is
required listening.
That is kind of like required listening. But I was referencing the Backlog Breakdown. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a metagame that we run all year, and basically the rules kind of encourage us to think about our purchases and play the games that we already own. They are the rule system is meant to incentivize that mindset. But if you're interested in checking that out, we have a link in our Discord, or you can just reach out to me and Josh, and we will send you a copy of the rules because we think it's kind of okay. It's neat, and people should do it. Other things that people should check out, think about that we think is kind of neat, and both our guests think is kind of neat because they are both patrons as well as. But we have a Patreon, like so many other podcasts out there, and we do want you to kind of think of it as a bit of a tip jar. In the sense that if you like what we're doing here and you're looking for a way to go a little bit above and beyond, and you've done the sharing and the caring, and you'd like to partner with us and sort of help us grow, that's the way to do it. But it doesn't just like, it's not just one of these like, give us money, please kind of moments. It actually comes with perks. Our patrons get each and every episode early and uncut. There's a video feed for our patrons that's exclusive to them. There's an exclusive podcast called The Bro Hang, which tends to be pretty stream of consciousness. Sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's a blend of the two. It's a mixed bag. It's kind of like Mexican candy. It's got some complex flavors going on. Is that true, Joshua? Do you know about Mexican candy?
Oh yeah, because it has the chamoy or the stuff on the outside. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's
spicy and sweet.
Spicy and sweet, complex flavors going on up in here. But in addition to that, each and every patron has the opportunity. Oh, that is not fair. Wesley Ray, quit typing. Man. But Josh, you're going to have to edit that out in post. But man, now I'm totally. In addition to all of that, each and every patron has the opportunity to basically help us. They can request us. They can make us play a game or talk about a topic on an episode. And the reason actually that we're here tonight is because Paul, actually, this is his patron pick. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about. Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past here in a little bit. But also, I figured while we're here, Paul and Wesley both are members of the Playwell Network alongside our good buddy Porcho, the Wonder from Down Under. And why don't you guys just take a minute here and just sort of pitch the audience on what you do? Paul, so tell us a little bit about what the Techno Funk Boy is up to these days.
Well, podcast wise, been working on Dragonlance: The Thorns of War, which is an actual play D&D podcast through the world of Dragonlance. That's been a lot of fun. If you don't mind, I'll also take the opportunity. I should have an album coming out before the end of the year.
Oh, nice.
And I do have on my Bandcamp my complete collection so far on sale for 50% off for the batch of it. And so, yeah, check out Techno Funk Boy on Bandcamp. But I'll let everybody know on Discord when the new album comes out. Should be fun.
Word. Sick.
Awesome.
Now, what I mean, can you tell us what like the source material is, or is it like just all new comps, or are you doing remix like because you did like all the Dragon Quest remix kind of revisit stuff?
Yeah, so this album is part of the soundtrack I did for the Dyson Dreary podcast.
Okay.
This one in particular is kind of dark and moody, but still has enough, upbeat to it to kind of keep things moving in it. So there's been we did the Dyson Dreary podcast a very long time, and so I ended up doing a lot of music for it. There's going to be one more soundtrack after this one, but each one has a little bit of a different flavor.
Mhm.
And so this one's coming out really nice, and I was a little worried about it because the last one's going to be very big, but I was a little worried about this one, but it's coming through really nicely, and so I'm excited to get it out.
Well, and Dyson Drury each season had a pretty kind of a different flavor, so that makes
Right,
sense
yeah.
that the soundtracks for those seasons had different flavors.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're completely new to Techno Funk Boy music, if I'd probably point to the Wolves album, which was a couple of years ago, but it is more synthwave, and quite a bit of fast paced, upbeat tunes on that one. I think it's the most accessible of all of them. There's I think they're all good, but it's a lot of it is really chromatic and atmospheric and dark, where the Wolves is a bit more pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Cool. So go check that stuff out, guys. But Wesley Ray, what are you making these days?
I'm surviving at this point, so I'm making precious little. I have some ideas in the work for more Retronym episodes, which is just
aside
a short
from
form
a
podcast.
potential bite-sized for us.
Yeah, potential baby too. Who knows? Like number 5, working on that.
Wesley Ray,
Can help it. Come on. But yes, Retronym. Hold on, kid.
he broke Paul.
Okay. Retronym, it's a short form podcast. I've had episodes here and there. I have like probably 20 just sitting there on my hard drive. I just haven't edited them because, long story short, Spotify took over Anchor. You can't edit in the app anymore like I used to, so I have to actually do actual editing on a computer. So that's a pain in the butt, and I actually have to sit down for hours at a time, and that's not happening with my life the way it is.
Really, really seriously is. Like,
yeah,
Anchor, come on.
It's really ridiculous. And yeah, there's that. But I'm almost done with Pokemon episodes, Nate. Almost done. It's nearly there.
For now.
It's like there's like 4 more. That's it. 4 more.
Until the next Pokemon games.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought Retronym was a Pokemon podcast.
That's pretty much what I had assigned it to. Yeah. Well, and now you have that Pokemon Pocket TCG game that you can mill for content. Yeah.
You really can't talk about it because it's just so perfect. There's like nothing you can say. It's amazing. It's fantastic. Flip a coin. It's great.
There's probably holes in that. There's holes in that story.
I see. That's what I'm working on. My family's out of town right now, so I'm going to work on it a little bit more. And there you have it. It's fine. It's just whenever I have time, and that's quite fine with me. I have no set release schedule. I have no theme form, whatever. I just do what I like to do because it's fun. I will say though,
he does what he wants.
Speaking of Paul's albums, he's kind of selling himself short here because his Final Fantasy album. I put it on one of the Yoto cards for my children, and they love that card. They love listening to the Final Fantasy music. They have no idea where it's from, but they love the Final Fantasy music. So, go over
That
there and
album
at
was
least
really
buy that
good.
album. It's
That's
fantastic.
That on Spotify, that my version of the Prelude got picked up by some a playlists that are popular, and so like I go in there and the Prelude has thousands of plays, and then my latest release has 2. It's like, you know what? I was really proud of that album. I really like it, so I'll take it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, but well, Paul, since this is your patron pick, I feel, Joshua, that it would only be appropriate to play one of his commercials or ad spots or whatever we can call those things. So I don't know.
I like it.
Like this is this is about to get like crazy, folks, because we still have the main episode to go and it's very late. So fever dream territory, here we go. But we'll see you on the other side of this. And here's a word from Paul.
Hi.
Do you think those are real crabs, or are they just fake
Imaginary crabs.
Imaginary crabs.